In every room, there's always that one person, the one everyone notices without trying. Their presence fills the air. Their smile feels genuine. Their words flow effortlessly. They don't chase attention, attention finds them. Now, imagine for a moment that person is you. No awkward silences, no overthinking what to say next. Just confidence. Natural, easy, and magnetic. Because that's what Leil Lowndes reveals in her book, How to Talk to Anyone. 92 little tricks that make a big difference in how people see you, respond to you, and remember you. This isn't a book about fake charm or manipulation. It's about learning the language of connection. A language that doesn't depend on status, looks, or background, but on understanding how people truly work. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, where we decode the world's best books on success, behavior, and self-mastery and turn them into powerful lessons you can use in your daily life. If you've ever wished to become more confident, more influential, and effortlessly likable, this one's for you. So grab your notebook, because what you'll learn today might just change the way you communicate forever. Let's dive in. The secret behind magnetic people. Think of the most charming person you've ever met. Maybe it was a friend who could walk into any group and instantly fit in. Maybe it was your boss who made everyone feel valued. Or maybe it was someone who with just one smile made you feel like the only person in the room. What's their secret? It's not perfect words or practiced lines. It's presence, the ability to make others feel seen, heard, and important. Leil Lowndes begins with a simple truth. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. That's the foundation. And to build that foundation, you need to master subtle cues. How you enter a room, how your eyes meet someone else's, how you listen, and even how you pause. Let's start with something small, but powerful. The flooding smile. Have you ever seen someone smile too quickly? It feels forced, right? Like they're trying too hard. Leil Lowndes calls this the instant smile trap. Most people smile the moment they see someone, but confident, charismatic people do it differently. When they notice you, they pause for a second, make gentle eye contact, and then smile, slowly, warmly, like sunlight breaking through clouds. That 1 second delay tells your brain this smile is real. It makes people trust you instantly, without saying a word. Try it next time. When you meet someone new, don't flash your smile immediately. Hold their gaze for just a heartbeat, and then smile naturally. Watch how differently they respond. That's the power of subtle psychology. The power of the eyes. Leil calls the eyes the most powerful social tool. When you truly look at someone, not just glance, but see them, it creates instant chemistry. In conversations, most people break eye contact too soon. They look away out of habit, shyness, or discomfort. But magnetic communicators don't. They maintain eye contact just a little longer. Not staring, not intense, just long enough to show interest. It's a signal that says, I'm fully here with you. Leil gives a small but effective trick. When you're talking to someone, notice the color of their eyes. Why? Because to do that, you'll have to hold their gaze long enough, naturally, to make a connection. Try it. It's subtle, yet incredibly powerful. First impressions that speak before you do. Before you even say your first word, people have already made a judgment about you. Within seconds, your body language, posture, and expression whisper a story. Are you confident? Are you approachable? Are you worth talking to? Leil says the key is to own your space. When you walk into a room, don't rush in or shrink. Move with calm assurance, as if you belong there, because you do. Hold your head up, shoulders relaxed, and imagine a small string gently pulling the top of your head upward. It instantly corrects posture and gives you a sense of presence. And when you greet people, use what Leil calls sticky eyes. That means when you're introduced to someone, don't immediately look away. Hold your eyes for a beat longer, as if your gaze says, "I see you, and I'm glad we met." That micro moment makes them feel valued and makes you unforgettable. The art of listening without words. Most people think communication is about talking, but the real magic lies in listening. Not the kind of listening where you wait for your turn to speak, the kind where you lean in, fully present, and your silence says more than words. Leil introduces what she calls the big baby pivot. When someone is speaking, turn your body fully toward them, just like a baby does when it hears a sound. Babies instinctively turn their whole bodies toward attention. It's pure focus. Adults, on the other hand, often keep half their body facing away, multitasking, checking phones, scanning the room. But when you pivot fully, when your eyes, shoulders, and body all align with the person speaking, they feel like they're the only one who matters. That's how you build real connection. Make people feel like celebrities. Here's one of the book's golden rules. People love those who make them feel good about themselves. If you can make someone feel special, you become unforgettable. When you meet someone new, don't just ask basic questions like, "So what do you do?" Instead, make it personal and emotional. What made you choose that line of work? What's the best part of your job? See the difference? You're no longer gathering information. You're showing interest. And interest is rare. Leil says, treat every person as if they were the most fascinating person you'll meet that day. And soon they'll start to think of you as the most interesting person they know. The small talk secret. Most people dread small talk. But here's what Leil teaches. Small talk isn't meaningless. It's the bridge to deeper connection. Think of it like the warm-up before the real conversation begins. When someone says, "Nice weather today," they're not talking about weather, they're testing emotional safety. They're asking silently, "Can we connect?" So instead of killing small talk, use it strategically. Mirror their tone, pick up emotional cues, and gently steer the chat towards something personal without forcing it. That's how strangers turn into friends and acquaintances into allies. So far, we've learned the basics: how a slow smile, strong eye contact, and genuine presence can instantly change how people perceive you. But now we step into the next level: how to turn small talk into real connection, and how to make every conversation feel like it matters. Because the truth is, people don't fall in love with your words. They fall in love with how you make them feel about themselves when they're around you. Parroting, the simplest trick that makes people love talking to you. Let's start with something so simple you'll wonder why no one told you sooner. Leil calls it parroting. Imagine this. You're talking to someone at a party. They say, "I just got back from Italy. It was amazing." Most people would respond with something like, "Oh, I've always wanted to go there. How was it?" Not bad, but slightly generic. Now try this. "You just got back from Italy?" Repeat their exact key words, softly, with curiosity. It sounds almost too easy, but here's what happens. The person's brain instantly feels heard. That one echoed phrase triggers a subtle psychological cue. This person gets me. And then they talk more. They open up, add details, laugh, share stories. You didn't have to think of a clever reply. You just mirrored their emotion back. That's the genius of parroting. Simple words, powerful chemistry. The swiveling spotlight. How to be instantly interesting. We all know that one person who hijacks every conversation, right? They talk endlessly about themselves, their plans, their achievements, and after 5 minutes, everyone's drained. Here's Leil's opposite technique: the swiveling spotlight. Imagine there's a spotlight in every conversation. Most people keep it on themselves, but charismatic communicators, they swivel it toward others. They ask thoughtful questions. They react with genuine curiosity. They make the other person feel like the main character in that moment. For example, if someone says, I recently started painting, instead of replying, oh, me too, or I'm not good at that. Try, that's amazing. What do you love painting most? Boom! You've just turned the spotlight on them. When people talk about themselves, their brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to pleasure and reward. So when you give someone that feeling, they unconsciously associate you with that joy. That's not manipulation, it's connection. Be a word detective. Read between the lines. Every word a person says hides tiny emotional clues. Leil teaches us to listen like a detective, not just for what people say, but why they say it. For example, someone says, I just survived another crazy Monday at work. A regular person might reply, yeah, Mondays are tough. But a word detective hears the emotional hint, crazy. That's an invitation to explore. So you might say, crazy Monday, what happened? And just like that, you're inside their world, beyond surface talk. Being a word detective means listening not just with your ears, but with your curiosity. You're looking for emotions behind the words, excitement, pride, frustration, joy, and following that trail. That's how conversations stop feeling like chatting and start feeling like connection. Echo their energy, not their words. Now here's where real communication mastery begins. You've probably heard mirror people's body language, right? But Leil takes it deeper. It's not about copying movements, it's about matching energy. If someone's calm and soft-spoken, slow down your tone. If they're exciting and expressive, let your energy rise to meet theirs. Why? Because humans subconsciously like people who are like them. It's called rapport mirroring. But here's the key. It must feel natural. You're not performing, you're syncing. It's like dancing. One leads, one follows, but both feel the rhythm. Next time you talk to someone, notice their energy. Adjust yours just slightly to match it. You'll see them relax, smile more, and lean in because they feel understood. The exclusive smile technique. There's something special about the way charismatic people smile. It's not just warmth, it's exclusivity. Leil shares this trick. When you're in a group and everyone's laughing, let your eyes briefly meet one person and smile just at them. It creates a micro connection, a moment of silent understanding, like saying, I see you. That's how great communicators turn a crowd into individuals. People walk away thinking they really connected with me, even if you barely spoke, because your attention, even for a few seconds, feels like gold. The name game. Here's something simple yet unforgettable. People love hearing their own name, not because they are vain, but because their name is tied to their identity. Leil says, a person's name is the sweetest sound in any language. But here's the mistake many make, overusing it. Saying, so John, how are you? John, that's great, John, sounds robotic. Instead, weave it naturally, like a soft reminder of warmth. Example, good to see you again, Priya. That story you told last time about your trip, I've been thinking about it. Now it sounds human, thoughtful, real. The key? Use someone's name like seasoning, not the main dish. Just enough to add flavor, not overwhelm. How to leave a lasting impression. Imagine you're leaving an event or wrapping up a meeting. Most people end conversations with quick goodbyes, but charismatic communicators make the goodbye as memorable as the hello. Leil suggests a trick called the handshake second time. When you're saying goodbye, offer your hand again and say something personal. I really enjoyed our talk, especially that story about your first job. Let's stay in touch. That final touch, both physical and emotional, seals the connection. It's like a signature moment that stays in their memory.
Because how you leave someone feeling at the end of a conversation often matters more than what you said during it. Building social confidence, the invisible habit. Finally, Leil reminds us communication isn't a skill you learn overnight. It's a habit of awareness. Every smile, every pause, every curious question builds your confidence. And with time, it stops feeling like effort. It becomes who you are. You'll notice strangers respond differently. People open up more easily. And slowly, the world begins to mirror your energy back. Warm, confident, magnetic. Because when you make others feel seen, you become unforgettable. That's the essence of connection. Not tricks or tactics, but understanding. Leil Lowndes doesn't teach you to impress people. She teaches you to understand them. And that's what makes you stand out. You walk into a room full of people. Laughter, conversations, clinking glasses. Somewhere across the room, you see small clusters, groups already deep in discussion. Your heart beats a little faster. You want to join in, but the thought of interrupting feels awkward. Sound familiar? Leil Lowndes understands this moment perfectly. And in How to Talk to Anyone, she gives us a toolkit for exactly these situations. Because charisma in a crowd isn't about being the loudest person. It's about mastering the subtle art of belonging. How to enter a group without feeling awkward. Most people barge into conversations like they're kicking down a door. They step in mid-sentence trying to add something clever and end up looking forced. Leil offers a smoother, more elegant move. When you approach a group, don't speak immediately. First, listen. Catch the rhythm of the energy. Is it serious, playful, light? Once you understand the flow, wait for a natural pause, then mirror their emotion and contribute something aligned. Example, if everyone's laughing about something, don't jump in with a serious comment. Smile, chuckle with them, and say something like, I can already tell I walked in on the fun part. What did I miss? Boom. You're in, effortlessly. No awkwardness, no forcing. You've matched their energy and invited them to include you. Leil calls this eavesdrop in, then drop in. Simple, elegant, and it works in every setting. Find the conversation navigator. In every group, there's one person controlling the social rhythm, the conversation navigator. They're not always the loudest, but others look to them for cues, when to speak, laugh, or move on. Leil's advice is, when joining a group, identify this person quickly. Once you do, give them slightly more eye contact, respond warmly to their jokes, and engage their cues. Why? Because when the navigator feels your respect, the rest of the group will automatically accept you. It's like aligning with the sun. The light reflects onto you, naturally. This trick is not manipulation, it's awareness. It's understanding the unspoken social structure of every group and moving in harmony with it.
Networking without feeling fake is a huge step up. Leil flips that idea completely. Networking, she says, is about building emotional familiarity. People do business with those they like, not just those who are qualified. So how do you build that? When you meet someone at a professional event, don't rush into your pitch. Instead, make a human connection first, something personal, memorable, and warm. For example, instead of, so, what do you do? Try, what brings you here today? Or, how did you get into your field? These open-ended questions invite stories, not summaries, and stories create bonds. Once the connection is made, then you can share what you do, and they'll actually care enough to remember it. The compliment that doesn't sound like flattery. Leil says, flattery is telling people what they want to hear. Compliments are telling them what you genuinely notice. The difference? Authenticity. Most compliments sound mechanical. Nice shirt. Good job. You're smart. They don't stick. Instead, go for observation-based compliments. Notice effort.
uniqueness or vibe. For example, instead of, "You're confident," say, "I really admire how calmly you handle questions. It makes people trust you." See the difference? It's personal, detailed, sincere, and unforgettable. The goal is to make someone feel seen for who they are, not just what they look like. How to make a strong first impression that lasts. Leil says the secret to unforgettable first impressions is combining 3 small habits. The slow smile, we covered that earlier. The sticky eyes, hold eye contact a second longer. And the gravitas pause. Speak slower than usual when you first meet someone. Why the pause? Because calm speech radiates confidence. Fast talkers often sound nervous even if they're smart. Leil writes, "Powerful people have time. They're not rushed, and that calm energy makes everyone else lean in." So next time you introduce yourself, take a breath, slow down, and say your name clearly. It's a small act of control, but it changes everything. The psychology of liking, mirroring emotions. Human connection runs on emotion, not logic. Leil's advice: mirror people's feelings, not their facts. Let's say a friend says, "I finally finished my project at work." Instead of, "Nice," say, "You must feel so relieved after all that effort." You're acknowledging their emotion, and that's what truly connects people. We all want to feel understood emotionally, not just heard logically. That's why emotional mirroring makes people open up instantly. It's the difference between talking with someone and talking at them. How to remember people effortlessly. Leil reveals a simple trick for remembering names and faces. Associate them with vivid, silly mental images. For example, if you meet Alex Baker, imagine him baking bread while introducing himself. If you meet Sophia, picture a glowing halo, like the word "so faithful." The weirder the image, the better you'll remember it. Because our brains don't remember names, they remember stories. So when you link a name with an image, it sticks for good. And then the next time you meet them, use their name confidently. You'll instantly stand out, because remembering someone's name says, "You matter." How to hold group attention without forcing it. You know that person who can start speaking and everyone listens? It's not luck, it's control of rhythm and tone. Leil teaches a few small but powerful tactics. Pause before speaking. Don't rush in when someone finishes talking. Wait 1 second. That small delay commands attention. Lower your voice slightly at the end of your sentences. It subconsciously signals confidence and finality. Use verbal italics. Emphasize key words with tone, not volume. These small audio cues make people feel that your words have weight. Because confidence isn't loud, it's controlled. The secret goodbye. You've made great conversation, but how you end it matters just as much. Leil's rule: leave them wanting more. Instead of long, awkward goodbyes, exit with purpose. End on a compliment or callback. For example, "I've really enjoyed this chat. Next time we meet, I want to hear how that project turns out." It's warm, specific, and open-ended. It invites future connection. And if you're at a professional event, follow up within 24 hours. A simple message saying, "Great meeting you. I really enjoyed our conversation about topic," can build real relationships. Confidence is a habit, not a trait. Here's the deeper truth behind everything Leil teaches. Charisma isn't something you're born with. It's a muscle you train. Every conversation, every smile, every pause, it's practice. The more you do it, the less it feels like effort. Soon walking into rooms, talking to new people, expressing yourself, it all becomes natural. And when that happens, people begin to gravitate toward you without even knowing why. Because connection is not magic, it's mastery. That's the essence of part 2, how to shine in groups, make genuine professional connections, and project effortless confidence that commands respect. Every technique is small, but together, they make you unforgettable. By now, you've mastered the basics. You can enter any room with ease, start conversations that feel natural, and make others feel heard and valued. But what separates good communicators from great ones, those who leave a lasting mark, is how they use their words to inspire emotion, command respect, and lead with charm. This is where Leil Lowndes takes us next, into the subtle psychological world of charisma. The power pause, the silent secret of authority. When confident people speak, they don't rush. They understand something most don't. Silence is power. Leil calls this technique the power pause. Imagine a leader addressing a crowd. They speak a sentence and then stop. The room goes quiet. People lean in. Every second of silence builds tension, focus, anticipation. That's the magic of the pause. In normal conversation, it's the same. When someone asks you a question, don't answer instantly. Take a small beat, just a moment before you reply. That pause signals calm authority. It says, I think before I speak. And when you do speak, your words carry weight. Try this in your next conversation. You'll feel the shift instantly. Limit the eyes, the subtle way to sound more confident. Have you ever noticed that when someone uses I too often, I think, I believe, I feel, it starts sounding self-centered or uncertain? Leil suggests a brilliant fix: limit the eyes. Confident people don't need to constantly reference themselves. They focus outward. Instead of saying, I think you did a great job, say, that was a great job. It's subtle, but it transforms your tone from personal opinion to genuine recognition. Too many I statements shrink your presence. Reducing them expands it. It makes your speech feel effortless, grounded, and powerful. The law of compliment return. Leil reveals a beautiful human truth. When you genuinely compliment someone, most people feel an emotional pull to mirror it back. But the key is authenticity. If you praise just to get praise, people sense it. But if you offer a thoughtful, honest compliment, it creates warmth that lingers. For example, I really admire how clearly you express your thoughts. You've given value without asking for anything in return. That's social generosity, and it always circles back. Real connection is built not through taking attention, but giving it. How to handle difficult people gracefully. No matter how skilled you become at communication, you'll face people who interrupt, dismiss, or try to dominate. Leil gives a few brilliant techniques for staying composed and in control. Don't fight their energy, redirect it. If someone interrupts, stop mid-sentence, smile slightly, let them finish. Then calmly say, that's an interesting point. Let me finish my thought and then come back to that. You've asserted control without confrontation. Use the broken record method. When someone keeps pushing you, repeat your stance with calm confidence, like a record repeating its line. I understand, but I'd like to finish what I was saying. The tone matters. Stay composed, never emotional. Master the smile shield. A calm, kind smile disarms aggression faster than arguments. It shows quiet confidence, not submission. People expect resistance. They don't expect poised grace. And that unexpected calm, that's real power. The humor bridge. Light up conversations naturally. Leil teaches that humor isn't about jokes. It's about lightness. You don't need to be a comedian. You just need to bring warmth. The best conversational humor is situational, noticing something funny in the moment, not rehearsing lines. For example, if someone spills a drink and laughs about it, you might say, well, you've officially broken the ice and the table. Efficient multitasking. That kind of humor works because it's harmless, inclusive, and spontaneous. The trick is, laugh with, never at, and never force it. Humor should feel like sunlight, not spotlight. How to talk about yourself without sounding arrogant. Leil says there's a right way to share your achievements and a wrong way. Most people either brag directly, I did this amazing thing, or downplay themselves, oh, it was nothing. Both feel off. The secret is what she calls the humble brag flip. Instead of directly talking about your success, frame it as a story that includes others or a lesson learned. Example, instead of I led a huge project, say, our team worked crazy hours on a project. I learned so much about how patience pays off. You still communicate your success, but without arrogance. People respect humility wrapped in confidence. The conversational callback, how to sound instantly engaged. This one is pure gold. Leil suggests using callbacks, bringing up something the other person mentioned earlier in the conversation. Example, by the way, how did that presentation go you mentioned earlier? It sounds simple, but to the other person, it feels like care. It says, you remembered me. Callbacks make your conversations feel continuous, not transactional. And when people feel continuity, they trust you more. How to connect with anyone, even total strangers. Ever felt anxious starting conversations with strangers? Leil says the secret is not to focus on yourself, but them. Most social anxiety comes from thinking, what if they don't like me? Flip it to, how can I make them feel comfortable? That small mental shift removes pressure instantly. When you approach someone, imagine they're a bit shy too. Smile warmly, ask a gentle question, or comment on your shared environment. This event's energy is amazing, isn't it? Or, I can never decide if these appetizers are great or just mysterious. Simple, light, human. When you focus on making them comfortable, your confidence rises naturally. How to sound instantly more charming. Leil reveals a tiny but powerful trick called the eyebrow flash. When you first recognize someone from across the room, lift your eyebrows slightly and smile. It's a universal signal of friendliness and excitement, one humans have used since childhood. That micro-expression tells the other person, I'm happy to see you. You can use it with friends, colleagues, or even during introductions. It makes your presence feel warm and welcoming in less than half a second. The art of graceful silence. Charismatic people know when not to speak. Leil explains that silence, used intentionally, makes conversations breathe. When someone shares something personal or emotional, don't rush to fill the silence. Just pause, nod, let the moment linger. That quiet space tells them you're feeling with them, not just listening. It builds emotional intimacy far deeper than words ever could, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Grace in disagreement. At some point, you'll disagree with someone, maybe even in a heated discussion. Leil gives a simple but masterful method. Validate before you challenge. That means before giving your perspective, acknowledge theirs. For example, I can see why you'd feel that way. It makes sense given your experience. My take's a bit different though. See how that softens the tone? You're not rejecting them, you're respecting them before responding. And when people feel respected, they listen, even when they disagree. That's emotional intelligence in action. The reputation echo. How to make people talk positively about you. Here's a trick of long-term influence. What people say about you when you're not there matters more than what they say to your face. Leil says people remember how you made them feel in small moments. The small compliment, the eye contact, the way you remembered their story, those tiny things echo in conversations long after. So focus not on impressing, but on impacting. Not on winning conversations, but on leaving warmth. That's how you build invisible reputation, the kind that travels farther than you could. From conversation to connection. Every tip, every trick, every smile in Leil's book leads to one deeper truth. People will forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. The greatest communicators aren't those who talk the most. They're those who listen with their heart, speak with empathy, and leave every interaction slightly better than they found it. That's what How to Talk to Anyone truly teaches. Not just how to talk, but how to connect. You don't need 92 tricks to change your life. Just a few, practiced with sincerity, used with warmth, and built into your daily habits will make you magnetic, respected, and unforgettable. That's the power of connection. And now, you know how to use it.
When you first picked up How to Talk to Anyone, maybe you just wanted to feel more confident, to walk into a room without that inner voice whispering, "Do I belong here?" To make conversation flow naturally, or maybe, just maybe, to finally be heard. But as you've discovered, this book isn't really about words. It's about energy. It's about how you make others feel when you speak. Because communication isn't a skill you perform. It's an extension of who you are. Connection is an emotion, not a script. Leil Lowndes doesn't give us a list of tricks to manipulate. She gives us a set of lenses to see people differently. When you look at someone, a friend, a stranger, even someone difficult, see the story behind their eyes. Everyone's carrying something. Hopes, fears, dreams, insecurities. When you talk to them as if you see that, as if you feel that, your words start to glow. That's what great communicators do. They don't talk at people. They talk into them. Presence over performance. Let's be honest. Most of us try too hard. We rehearse what to say. We analyze every word. We fear every pause. But Leil's message is simple. The secret of charisma isn't perfection. It's presence. When you stop worrying about being interesting and start being interested, people feel it. When you listen deeply, when your eyes soften, when your body language says, "I'm here with you," that's charisma. Presence is power. Not because it dominates, but because it radiates calm confidence. Your voice has power. Use it gently. Every time you speak, you have a choice: to impress or to impact. Most people chase attention, but those who truly connect, they give attention. It's the difference between wanting to be the center of the conversation and wanting to make the conversation feel centered. Your voice can be a mirror, reflecting someone's best self back to them. That's not manipulation, that's empathy in motion. When you master that, you don't just talk to anyone, you move people. From small talk to big moments. Think back to the times when a random conversation changed your day, maybe a stranger's kind word when you were struggling, or a brief moment where someone saw you. That's the magic of connection. We never know which conversation will change someone's mood, which smile will spark hope, or which listening ear will make someone feel less alone. Every small talk is a seed. Plant enough of them, and you'll grow a garden of influence, trust, and warmth around you. Leil Lowndes reminds us, every person you meet is a door to a new world. Open those doors, gently, curiously, fearlessly. Your new communication code. Let's sum up the unspoken formula this book gives us, not as tips, but as truths. When you enter a room, bring light, not noise. Confidence isn't loud, it's calm. When you speak, pause. Let silence make your words stronger. When you listen, lean in. Real attention is rarer than diamonds. When you smile, mean it. The human brain can't fake warmth. When you compliment, do it with your heart, not your strategy. People can feel the difference. When you leave others feeling better than before. That's real charm. If you do just these 6 things, you'll never be forgettable again. Charisma isn't taught, it's remembered. You already know how to connect. You did it as a child, before fear, before ego, before self-doubt. Leil's 92 little tricks simply help you remember that natural spark,
The part of you that once loved talking to anyone and everyone. The part that didn't overthink, that didn't chase approval, that just wanted to share joy. That version of you still lives inside. And with practice, patience, and presence, it's coming back. The final message: talk less, feel more. At the end of the day, every conversation is a chance to lift someone's spirit, to plant an idea, to share a story, to listen like it matters. So talk less about how to talk and more about how to care. Because that's really what this book teaches. And when you lead with care, success, friendship, love, trust, they all follow. So next time you walk into a room, don't worry about the perfect line. Just carry this energy. I'm here to make someone's day a little bit better. That's all. That's the entire art of communication and the secret of how to talk to anyone. All right, guys, if this video helped you see communication in a new way, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need that little boost of confidence today. Because trust me, connection is contagious. When you start spreading it, the world around you quietly starts to change. And if you want to go even deeper, the full book, How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes, is linked down below in the description. Go check it out. It's filled with even more powerful lessons that can completely change how you connect with people. Remember this: words can open doors, but it's your warmth that keeps them open. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we've got more life-changing book summaries coming your way soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.